to where the so-called Christian church has got people believing that the Gentiles are non-Jews. Well, that's not really the case, man, because you can have Jews that are Gentiles. Now, check that out. Because if you had it to where you had one of the descendants of one of the children of Judah, okay, who was into the philosophies of the heathen, and his children likewise, guess what? That would have become a Gentile, a real Gentile, of which the Messiah said he was going to graft those back in because they're off the same vine. Now, you go to where you go the children of the heathen, well, guess what? They ain't coming from the same vine. Okay, that can't be grafted back in. They ain't off the same stock of the children of Israel. So they're not part of the same promise, man. Okay, they got their own promise. They got their own things that the Messiah said that was going to happen to him. Like, for instance, Esau, the Messiah set it up to where what? Esau was going to rule like how he's ruling right now, but his ultimate end was to be wiped off of the face of the earth. That's within the book of Job, the 20th chapter. And when you check out Israel, the Israelites, the Negroes, Hispanics, Native Americans, well, what the Messiah said that they was going to go through all of this slavery, all of this hardships, but the ultimate end-all be-all was that the Messiah was going to put them back on high, man. That goes into the book of Hebrews, the 8th chapter, Ezekiel, the 36th chapter, okay, and all them other scriptures alike, man. Okay, where the Messiah was going to put a new heart of flesh upon the children of Israel and make it to where they wasn't going to go off anymore. And in not going off, they was going to be like what? They was going to be like gods, man. Okay? No, and they was going to be able to judge in righteousness. Here it is, you got all kind of problems within the earth because the rulership that's in place, they don't know how to judge, between right and wrong. Okay, when you're talking about right and wrong, we're talking about what you do with your waste, man. Okay, what do you do? Are you gonna split an item if you don't know how to put it back together? Okay, are you gonna chop down all the trees within the earth so you can grow more beef? That's what we're talking about here. Are you gonna make some plastic, and that plastic ain't gonna be able to biodegrade? Because here it is, the Messiah has already set up systems and alternatives to all of these things that was going to be what? That was going to be beneficial, but also it was going to not destroy the earth, man. Okay? So the Messiah's got a system already in place that's functional, of which the Negroes, Hispanics, Native Americans, the Israelites, once they get sifted out from wherever they're going to be, okay, they was going to put that into place, man, and it was going to be beautiful, okay? Matter of fact, the scripture says within the book of Isaiah, the 14th chapter, let me get that right quick and I'll come back to this, how that there was going to be, when Esau was taken out of power, you was going to have, basically everybody was going to rejoice, man. Okay? So the book of Isaiah, the 14th chapter, and I might read all of it and come back to this Amos, the 9th chapter, and Deuteronomy, the 24th, 28th chapter, okay, because it's a good scripture, okay? Isaiah, the 14th chapter, starting from the first verse, it says, for the Lord will have mercy on Jacob and will yet choose Israel. So after everything is all said and done, okay, you seen Jake, okay, basically become homeborn slaves. Okay, you seen Jake getting lynched. Okay, you seen Jake, okay, their babies being fed to alligator. You've seen all of that. Okay, that's within the history. Go through the 400 years of slavery that Jake went through. You find out that there's a lot of things that the Negroes, Hispanics, Native Americans went through. There was such a thing that was known as a man called the Indian killer. And what was he doing? He was killing all kind of Native American Indians. Okay, you had it to where they was basically Jake was catching all kind of hell, man. To put it simply. Okay, but guess what? After all is said and done, the Messiah was going to still yet choose his people. It says, for the Lord will have mercy upon Jacob, and will yet choose Israel, and set them in their own land, and the strangers shall be joined unto them. So pretty much the most, you got it to where them so-called Jews are within the land of Israel right now, which they ain't the real. When you check out the history, when you check out the prophecies, the histories, they don't line up with the people that the Lord said, that's my people. They're actually, what you know is the nation of Esau, okay, the Amalekites, okay, which the scripture says they're the worst of the people. And when you check out what happened within Europe prior to the so-called World War I, okay, you find out that they was getting kicked out of all of the countries because they was bringing about diseases. Okay, they was bringing about distrust because they're distrustful people. Okay, they was bringing about all kind of chaos. And look at it now, they're in power right now because they might have you believe that Theresa May, okay, Angela Merkel, okay, and Trump are in power. But the reality of the situation is these Amalekites, they know their own nature and they know that the people wouldn't accept them as being their true rulers. So they do what's known as ruling from the shadows, man. Okay, so they're the ones really pulling the strings, man. Okay, and check out what's happened to the entirety of the whole world since they've been in rulership. You've had all kind of chaos come up and sprout up as a direct consequence of them being in power, man. Okay, so continuing now. Okay, so continuing now within the book of Isaiah, the 14th chapter, it says here, Isaiah 14:1, it says, for the Lord will have mercy upon Jacob, and will yet choose Israel, and the strangers shall be joined unto them. And guess what? That's what we were just speaking about. How the Lord was going to sift, okay, his people from among all the nations. That's the strangers that it's talking about. It ain't talking about just some random heathen that's going to be joined, okay, unto the covenant, man. Okay, when you read the book of Amos, the 8th chapter and the 8th verse, you weren't talking about the whole covenant being opened out to everybody. That will make it less valuable. Okay, it'll mean all the hell that the Negroes, Hispanics, Native Americans, and the Israelites have caught was meaningless. But here it is, the Most High didn't set it up that way. He said, look, my Lord's statutes, commandments, he said he showeth his word unto Jacob, okay, his statutes and his judgments unto Israel. He hath not dealt so with any nation, and as for his judgment, they have not known him. Okay, so they got their own thing happening, man. All right, but you see, like the scripture says, Israel's portion is not like the rest of the nations. Okay, so continuing here, it says, and the strangers shall be joined unto them. So that's the diaspora, what you know as the diaspora or the Gentiles. Now you got two different classifications of Gentiles within the scriptures. You got the heathens and you got the Israelites. The Gentiles that's going to be joined unto us is the Israelite foreigners, man. I mean, the thing is simple, okay? How that the Most High was going to be dealing with these people, and he's going to be dealing with the dispersed of his people too. Okay? Of which, when you check out what happened within the scriptures, pretty much all the Israelites became Gentiles, because guess what? After you had the Lord come upon the scene, you had the Romans pretty much, okay, under who was this guy? Okay, you got Titus, Vespasian, all them kind of cats. You had it to where Jake was catching all kind of hell that they had to run into the interiors of Africa and so on and so forth and rule over that particular region of land up until the times that we're living, up until the times of slavery, when then another event happened that was spoken about within the scriptures, okay, of which they dispersed, okay, into the Americas and so on and so forth. So there's a lot of history there, man. There's a lot of history, okay? But the ultimate end all be all is that the Lord's going to send his son, Yahweh Shai, who's going to deliver his people from this situation that they're in right now. All right, so continuing, it says, and the strangers shall be joined with them, and they shall cleave to the house of Jacob. And it says, and the people shall take them. Now this is talking about the actual heathen. Okay, and the people shall take them and bring them to their place. And the house of Israel, the 12 tribes of Israel, the Negroes, Hispanics, Native Americans, okay, shall have them for slaves, man. Okay, it says, and the people shall take them and bring them to their place, and the house of Israel shall possess them in the land of the Lord, okay, for strangers, for servants and handmaids, all right, and they shall take them whose captives they were, and they shall rule over their oppressors. So here it is, because we went off on the Lord's statutes, commandments of the Most High, here it is, we were oppressed underneath Esau, Elam, Ishmael, okay, all the nations upon the face of the earth we was oppressed under, but you see, the Most High hasn't forgotten about his people. Okay, even as though I believe that the Most High is forgotten about the children of Israel or whatever, the Most High ain't forgotten about his people, man. Okay, that's why it says the Lord will still have mercy upon Jacob. And really, that goes up, because really this scripture, this particular precept starts within the 13th verse. Okay, which, you know what? Let's read it so we get the context. Because what he's talking about here, we're talking about the destruction of this place, okay, the deliverance of the Israelites. And that's really the main story that's happening within the earth right now. Okay, we got to a point where pretty much if the Lord don't come soon, okay, there wasn't going to be any flesh left to save. So what's the Lord doing? The Lord's having it to where chaos is sprouting out, and he's going to send his son to intervene to deliver his people whilst World War III is playing out. And that's where the 13th verse comes into it, the 13th chapter. Okay, so Isaiah 13:1, it says the burden of Babylon, or which Babylon, when you go into the scriptures, that's dealing with America, man. Okay, you go into the book of Revelations, the 17th chapter, all right, it talks about mystery Babylon. Okay, so we're dealing with America. In fact, let me get that, and then we can build up on this picture, man. Okay, so Revelations, the 17th chapter, starting from the top, and I go back to, I'll go back to the book of Isaiah, the 13th chapter. So Revelation 17:1, it says, and there came one of the 7 angels which had the 7 vials, and talked to me, saying, come hither, and I'll show thee the judgment of the great whore that sitteth upon many waters. And when you go into the latter part of the scriptures, it tells you that the many waters is dealing with the different nations within the earth, the different people, so you can understand. Okay, it says there, which America sits upon all of these nations, man. All right, you're talking about technology. Who's the pioneer of the main place where those technologies are sold? It's America, man, the consumer state. And as a result, the heathen, the people within the world, they aspire to be like that, man. Okay, they want to be involved within the American way of life. That's why that's why you have a thing called Westernization. Westernization really started with the British, but then the British became what? America. Okay, the British, out of the British, you had the Americans, and after the independence of the American government from the British, you had it to where the Americans, through their military, basically ran the whole entirety of the world. Okay, so it says there, with whom all the kings of the earth have committed fornications, and the inhabitants of the earth have been drunk off of wine. And that's going into Hollywood, because you got into where Hollywood basically is the main influencer, all right, of everything that happens within the world right now. Okay, everything that happens within the world right now comes by way of what? Comes by way of what people see on TV. So whatever they see on TV, that's what they do. Monkey see, monkey do. Okay, as the quote goes. So you got into it. You got Hollywood, and that's going into what? That's going into the wine of their fornication, man. Okay, the wine that the Most High, the scripture says, the Most High, Isaiah, Jeremiah, the 50th chapter, or is it the 51st chapter? Okay, the Most High has given Babylon a golden cup. Okay, and within it was filled all kind, wine, whatever, and basically that's gonna make the nations drunk, man. Okay, therefore the nations are mad. Matter of fact, let me get to it. Jeremiah the 50th chapter, might be 51. Okay, Jeremiah 51:7 says, Babylon hath been a golden cup within the Lord's hand. Okay, that hath made all the earth drunken. The nation have drunken all wine. Okay, therefore the nations are mad. So they've left off all of their so-called traditional customs. Okay, which when you check out the traditional customs of Ishmael, okay, especially Ishmael, because he was born in the same house as one of our forefathers, man. Okay, when you check out the customs of these heathen nations, I'm talking about their traditional customs. Okay, pretty much most of their traditional customs go back onto the customs of the children of Israel. Okay, pretty much their so-called traditional customs go back onto our scriptures, man. Okay, in Iraq, but they put their own heathen spin to it. Okay, they put their own heathen spin to whatever they was doing. So you got Elam out there, they put their own twist to what they saw us doing. Okay, and that's why really when you go into the scriptures, you find out when the Most High sets us up, these heathen nations, they're gonna come to us and learn of our ways. Okay, so they pretty much they don't go off like how they've been doing it in the past, man. Okay, so Revelation 17 and 2, it says, with whom all the kings of the earth have committed fornications, and the inhabitants of the earth have made drunk with the wine of wrath for fornication. So continuing third verse, so he carried me away in the spirit into the wilderness, and I saw a woman arrayed in scarlet. Okay, a woman sit upon a scarlet-colored beast, rather, having the 7 heads and 10 horns. Now, when you're dealing with scarlet, red, okay, there's certain codes includes within the scriptures, all right, that you're gonna link up together. Okay, so when you go into the book of Genesis, the 25th chapter, okay, there's a clue that runs through the entirety of the scriptures that you gotta keep up pace with. Okay, because this red beast, okay, or this red nation, okay, there was like a reoccurring thing within the scriptures, man. Okay, because the scripture talks about how that there was gonna be a nation of red that looked red or whatever. Okay, and it also says that there was gonna be a red horse. Okay, and unto him was given peace to take away from the earth. You're gonna put these pieces together, and pretty much what you find out is that that's Esau, man, dealing with the elite banking families and their minions on down. Okay, so going into the book of Genesis, the 25th chapter. Okay, Genesis, the 25th chapter. And straight to the point, it says, Genesis 25 and where am I? Where do I want to be? Okay, Genesis 25 and 25 says, and the first came out red, all over like a hairy garment, and they call his name Esau. Okay, now let's go to the book of Genesis, Revelations 6 and 9. I forget where I want to be now. Just bear with me. Okay, so this is Revelations 6:4. It says, and they went out on another horse that was red, and power was given to him that sat thereon, okay, to take peace from the earth, that they should kill one another, and there was given unto him a great sword. Now, again, like I said, there's clues within the scriptures, man. Clues within the scriptures. Okay, so that's okay. So we identified two things that refer to red. Okay, three things. Okay, the scarlet-colored beast. Okay, Esau, who was called red like a hairy garment from the time he was born. Okay, and also we've seen that there was a red horse. Now let's start putting the picture together. Okay, and see what the scripture is talking about. Okay, so two more precepts. The book of Genesis, the 25th chapter, 27th chapter this time. Genesis 27 and 37. So Genesis 27 and 37 says,
Can you wait for me? I'm here on the phone.
and Isaac answered and said unto Esau, behold, I have made him thy Lord. Okay, this is dealing with Jacob's blessing. Okay, and pretty much the blessing of Jacob was to inherit the promise that went back from Abraham, which came down to Isaac, which came down to Jacob, man. Okay, so it says, and Isaac, Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. Yeah, that's it. So it says, and Isaac answered him and said unto Esau, behold, I have made him thy Lord, and thy Lord, and all his brethren have I given for servants, him for servants, and with corn and wine have I sustained him. And what shall I now do, my son? Okay, so Esau begs for the blessing, and this is what his father said. It says, and Isaac answered and said unto him, behold, thy dwelling shall be the fatness of the earth above all the dew of heaven. Okay, which is the same blessing that Jacob got. But ultimately what was going to happen is that Esau was going to rule for a period of time, and ultimately it was going to go back onto Jacob. So we're living through Esau's blessing right now. Now he is in the fatness, he's living in the fatness of the earth. Okay, which when you're talking about the fatness, all right, when when you're dealing with cattle, dealing with grapes or things that, you know, you're dealing with farming, okay, real wealth and real substance. What you're basically dealing with, you're dealing with the fatness, the increase, man. Okay, you want the fattest grapes, you want the fattest cow, you want the fattest pig, not pigs. you want the fattest goats, okay. You want the fattest what would you call it, lambs, okay. I'm going off there. I said pigs. But pretty much you want the biggest of everything, because the biggest of everything is gonna give you the most increase. Okay, so you want the biggest grapes. So when you're talking about someone living in the fatness of the land, okay, when you're dealing with that, you're dealing with someone that's doing hella well, man, hella nice. And pretty much when you check out Esau, that's what he's dealing with. He's dealing with the fatness of the earth, the increase of the earth, man. Okay, the nicest places that they're living in, that they're staying at. Okay, the most daintiest, they can have the pick of what they want on the earth, man. Okay, we've got the resource to do it. Okay, so pretty much that's what we're dealing with, the fatness of the earth, right? So back within the book of Genesis, the 27th chapter on the 40th verse. Sorry, I slipped with my tongue there. I can't believe I said that. Okay, the fattest pigs. God damn. It says there, 40th verse. It says, and by the sword shalt thou live, and serve thy brother, and it shall come to pass when thou shalt have the dominion, thou shalt break over the yoke from off his neck. And it says Esau hated. So basically that's the point. Okay, by the sword shalt thou live. Now when you check out the earth, and you check out how the earth is managed, pretty much it's managed by way of the sword, man. Okay, so here it is. We found out that there's a forefather of nations that was red. Okay, he was going to rule the nations in anger. It's going to tell you that when we go back onto the book of Isaiah, the 14th chapter. You see how all of these precepts link up? Okay, pretty much he was going to rule the world with wrath, man. So therefore he is the red sword, because rather more, he is that red man, okay, that red sword, which red horse rather more, which horse just means power. He is that angel on the left hand side, so you can understand that red horse, okay, the spirit, the physical incarnation of Satan, the spiritual demon Satan himself upon the earth, and unto him was given a great sword, going back all the way onto the book of Genesis, the 27th chapter on the 37th verse, where the man Jacob, okay, rather more the man Isaac blessed Esau, which was the Lord, okay, blessed Esau, okay, with the sword, okay, and with that he was going to take peace away from the earth. Now let's check that out within the history. Okay, the book, and this is the last precept, and I go back to the book of Revelations. Okay, so this is the last precept, the book of Maccabees. Okay, Lord's will, you know, people, guys back at home are keeping up because there's a lot of precepts, but they should all be tying together, man. Okay, so the book of Maccabees, the first chapter, and the first verse. So it says, and it happened that after Alexander, it said, and then it happened after that, Alexander the son of Philip, the Macedonian, came out of the land of Shittim. Okay, had smitten Darius, the king of the Persians and the Medes, that he reigned in his stead over Greece. So you check out the history, all right, pretty much what you had was a situation where Darius, okay, the Mede, okay, was the last ruler of what was known as the Medo-Persian Empire, okay, of which the Medo-Persians came after the Babylonians, okay, the Babylonians came after the Assyrians, okay. So the Assyrians, the Babylonians, the Medo-Persians, okay, and after two battles, okay, the battle of Granicus and the battle of Issus, okay, you had it to where Alexander, the so-called great, took down Darius the Mede. Now, when you check out the history, you find out whether it's true or not. You find out that basically Alexander, the so-called great, he went to he went to Israelites to find out that he was that goat that is spoken about within the book of Daniel. And after he had found that out, okay, he went on his killing rampage, because it was prophesied that he was going to do that. Now check out what happened within the times of slavery. Didn't they have a thing called manifest destiny, which basically that was talking about what? Putting the Negroes, Hispanics, Native Americans into slavery. Now hold on a minute. If it's manifest destiny, okay, what destiny are they manifesting? Are they, because in a roundabout way, they're actually telling you that you're the children of Israel, man. Okay, they're telling you you're the Israelites in a roundabout way.